Welcome everyone. My name is Joe Pippin with Queen Anne's County Conservation. We're here today to recognize and congratulate the Gunther family. We have Paul, Alan, and Gary Gunther here today, and they are this year's Farmer and Farm Family of the Year. This was voted on by our local Ag Board, which are fellow farmers within the county, and I think it's a huge accomplishment. They will also be recognized August 13th at 5:45 at the Queen Anne's County Fairgrounds. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it very much. Yep.
Let's get started. We'll talk about some of your family history here on the farm and how you started in agriculture.
Yeah. Well, I guess it starts back when my mom and dad, or my father moved down from Harford County and worked for Dr. Crow outside of Centerville, vet. And he worked for him quite a while, and then he went to Blakeford and helped manage the hog operation. And E.S. Valiant and Son, the fertilizer company in Centerville, got him to come out here and be a tenant farmer on this farm out here. And that was back in like 45, 40, 44, 45, something like that. And just kind of in 1977, all the brothers got together and we purchased the Valiant part of the farm and changed it over to Gunther Partnership, and we're still operating in that same capacity right now.
How about you guys growing up on the farm together? And I know you had cows here, and what were your chores and everyday job on the farm?
And,
All right. We probably pretty much like most small dairy farms in the area coming up. Uh, we all worked in the dairy and took care of the cows and hogs and everything else. And we get up in the morning and we go to the barn, get the milkers and everything ready, and, do the milking, and usually by the time we were done milking, it was time to get ready to go to school. And after that, then go to school, come back, and pretty much get something to eat at the house after we came back, and head back to the barn and do the milking again. But it kept everybody together, and we didn't have a whole lot of money back then, but we really didn't need much, and we seemed like we had plenty. So even for people that were, at the time, we were just, Dad was pretty much a sharecropper at the time we came out here. But we all worked together, and what one of us couldn't do, somebody else could do. We took care of things like that. So it's kind of neat. Certainly a good education coming up on a farm. I think what a lot of things that I had learned, I learned here on the farm, whether it was working together with your family or things you learned working on equipment to get things done, or anything else. And it helped me a lot. Eventually getting a job. I went on to get some technical education after I graduated from high school, and it helped me in my life certification. Was a good occupation besides the farming.
Now you said you had dairy cows and hogs. What kind of crops did you grow?
Back then, we grew a little bit of everything. We had oats, we had wheat, corn,
Feed the cow.
soybeans. So
yeah, a little bit of whatever. A lot of it went all back to
Feed the
a
cow.
lot of Sudex and stuff
Yes.
like that went back and chopped for winter food for the animals.
Now Sudex, what was that? It was a forage for the cattle.
It was a forage for the cattle, and it would grow sometimes 8 to 10 feet tall.
Okay.
and you ran through it with a chopper and chopped it up into small little 1, 2
Kind of
inch.
like a plant like sorghum.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Tall, though.
Yeah.
Tall, 7, 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So usually one of us would do that, or, Dad first did it, and, after we learned, then we would do that. And somebody would stay in the barn with, we did have one hired hand that helped us, and he was certainly somebody that helped me a lot learn to work on farm equipment too. So I owe a lot to that gentleman. And
Yeah, we baled a lot of straw, a lot of hay.
Yeah.
Day like today, it would be 105 up in the barn, and we'll be
Right.
stacking hay.
And a lot of the straw helped pay the mortgage too on the farm here. We'd fill that barn up with maybe 4,000 to 5,000 bales of barley and wheat straw, and then sell it off through the wintertime. Sold a lot of it into the horse industry, and it worked out pretty well. It was another cash crop that a lot of people just left on the ground.
Remember what they were selling bales for back then?
I
I think now it's like $5 plus. Or more.
I think we were looking at $1 or a dollar
a
and
bale.
4. Yeah, something like that in that range.
Yeah.
It wasn't a whole lot, but it seemed like a lot to us then, Yeah.
that's one way we helped pay for the farm when we purchased it. Was we would bale the straw, and which the normally would probably just lay there, and then along with harvesting the timber and whatever we could do to make the payment.
Right.
When we purchased it, splitting wood, fallen trees, just cleaning up our forest. And,
Yeah, Dad was on the forestry board, and so any trees that went over, we either went down in the woods and cut them up and brought them out and sold them for firewood, or and that was a pretty good money maker back in those days. A lot more people were using firewood for heat, which we may all be getting back to that day again. Who knows?
Who knows, right?
that's sure.
Going from growing up on the farm to moving on in life. Talk about, I know some more details about your education, but we can go around the table here. How you, after the farm, and got off the farm for a little while. Where did you go to college?
Yeah. I tell the story that I left for college around the same time that Dad sold the cows here.
Okay.
And it's the first time I can remember seeing tears in his eyes as we were going out the lane, and I know he was crying for the cows and not for me. But I got a scholarship to be a place kicker down at UMES,
Okay.
and played football. Just played one season there, and the rest of my time I played on the golf team and some of the others, but yeah, and got my bachelor's degree from there, and then went on to College Park and got my master's, and then went on back and got a second bachelor's degree in political science.
Okay.
So anyway,
And you, one of the famous football teammates was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Art Shell.
Artie Shell played with us. Charlie Stoops, who played for the Ravens, or played for the Colts.
Yeah.
Gerald Irons, who played for Kansas City, and there was quite a few that came out of that program that were excellent ball players. But they, because of the financial situation, the college had to close the program down, and so I took up playing golf. Not very well, but I took it up.
Right. How about you, Alan?
Um, I worked for Friel's cannery in the evenings and in the summertime, and helped out what I could on the farm when I was a kid. And then through working for Friel's, he paid my way through technical school. I went to Lincoln Tech. I graduated there, and then I came back, and Vietnam was still going on, and my mom says, "You're not going over there, so you know you better get your butt in college." So I went to Chesapeake, and you know I really didn't want to go to college, but you know I figured it wouldn't hurt me, so I did that, and I graduated there, and uh, what I learned I brought back here to the farm. Took some classes that would help out here. But, my technical classes helped a lot here on the farm, and also, you know, I worked as a mechanic, and I was a maintenance supervisor for most of the companies that I worked for. So since that time.
Gary, your turn. Go ahead.
Well, I graduated from Queen Anne's County High School, and I went to Lee College in Tennessee. Graduated there, and I did a master's degree at Washington College. And pretty much worked with the elderly, with senior citizens for the last 45 years in the Midshore. Still work with Upper Shore Asian Housing Corporation, and we provide senior housing from St. Michael's all the way up to Perryville.
And Gary, I often tell a story about Gary being, of the 5 partners, Gary was the most important, because you had Robert, who had the trucking company, and he'd kind of keep things moving around, and then Kenny supplies a lot of manual labor that you need around the farm, and then Alan came in, and you know, if you didn't watch it, if the doors were shut, he'd be walking out the door with the motor to something, putting in his pickup truck and going away, especially right towards plant time. But he was a mechanic here and done a fabulous job keeping everything going. But Gary, with his degree in theology, was the most important for him, because he prayed for us all, and kept the whole thing going.
Right.
It was, you can see, every time he prayed, he lost a hair, and just take a look at his head right now. So,
Pray for rain, right?
That's
All the
right.
time.
That's it.
And you work at the you're an extension agent, right, Paul?
I worked with the University of Maryland for 33 years, and retired. Thought I might retire and just kick back and, you know, maybe just do farming full time and help a little bit here. But I had a bunch of friends who came to me and said, "Paul, so we need somebody to represent ag on the county commissioner board." Well, I said, "Oh well, we'll try it." I went and got elected, and then
That was 2006 to 2010.
yeah, right, 2006. Got elected, and then lost all my friends, and then so I'm back here doing this. I consult for Corman's aerial spraying, and consulted for them and over the years, and you know, bunch of little things. Started a little countries market alongside of the 309, and you know, still run it today.
How about switching gears here a little bit? How about tell us something people may not know about you guys, or your hobbies, passions? What do you like to do off the farm?
I've always liked auto racing, but I've helped out with a few people that competed. I did some myself when I was younger, but I found that it was a lot less expensive to work for somebody else and help them. So that worked out pretty good doing that. And I like fishing and joy boating and everything, but here lately I just try to what I can to help uh, other organizations. I belong to the Lloyd Fan Club here, and we do a lot of good in the Tri-County area, Queen Anne's, and Talbot and Caroline. And anybody that we see local that we know needs help, we try to do what we can to help them. So I try to devote most of my time. Now, I'm feeling a little better. I was sick most of this winter, so I'll try to do more to help do that.
Gary?
I like to fish, but I teach a Bible study every couple of weeks. I enjoy doing that. Mostly work. That's it, but
If you were born on this place, on this farm, most of us didn't learn how to spell vacation until we were probably 21. And then it was a short spelling of it. So, but I think mom and dad, I can remember them maybe twice in the whole time taking a vacation with the Shortles. And but it was something that they never did. They just loved it here, and this was their vacation. And that's kind of how I feel about it. But I mean, we do try. I try to work with groups. I learned a lot from the Lions Club and the Rotary Club about what public outreach was. And actually, they sent me to Boys State, and I learned a lot about what public leadership was all about. Went from there. Now we do probably twice as many fundraisers for free for groups than things that we do for money.
You're talking about your barbecue and
The barbecue, yeah.
talk about that a little bit more. Obviously you got your stand and you've been doing that for a long time. I know you enjoy it. How did all that start?
Well, we started. I started doing a lot of things for like the 4-H clubs, helping them cook chicken and cooking chicken for
Now,
them.
what year was that?
That was back in the like 71 or 72 or something like that. And then kind of went from there. Most of the time, I mean, there used to be a thing here called the first Congressional Bull Roast, Republican Bull Roast here, and Tex Saltonfuss asked me. He was a county commissioner then, and he asked me if I'd cook chicken and beef for that thing, and then he told me after I agreed to do it that there would be 5,000 people, and so we pulled it off. But the speaker for that day, right there at the 4-H park, in front of the big exhibit building, was Ronald Reagan, and he had just he hadn't been president, but he had just got halfway through his term as governor. And so, we cooked for a lot of people. Bob Dole and a lot of people came through to see, and were here for that bull roast. And that's kind of like where we started from. And then people said, "Well, hey, can you do this in my backyard?" Or just kind of progress from there.
Took off from there.
Yep.
And then, what year did you start volunteering for the fair, cooking the chicken?
Oh, probably 71 or so, something like that. I helped with Jim Cheatham and some of those guys, Windsor Hastings, and helped on that. And then we incorporated the beef night in about 76, and then we were looking for another night, so we did pork back maybe about 1977. We started, incorporated that in, and what we were trying to do was help pay for the put money back into the program that would pay the premiums for the kids that showed at the fair, making sure that, if you brought in 6 tomatoes or you brought in 1,000-pound steer, that you got some kind of premium for exhibiting at that fair. And I think that's something that very few other counties did, and I think it's given people that, you know, there's some of those people are still there today. Their kids and grandkids are still there exhibiting, and it's always been a family type organization. Right?
Numbers wise, I want to know how many halves of chicken you cook. Give me a roundabout. I mean, it's over 50 years you've been doing it, and you can average, 1,500 halves of chicken at the fair.
Yeah, probably 1,500 a year at the
I
fair.
came up with
and
over 65,000 halves of chicken.
Probably in that range, because we, after we do the hours, or before we do ours, we go over and help Caroline County with theirs. We always we'd go down and do the Maryland Association Counties at Ocean City, and then cook chicken for that, and that was 1,000, 1,200 people, and then so. It's like, people say, well, how do you manage to do that? Well, if you can cook one chicken, you can cook 1,000. It just you got to have the labor. And it wasn't just me. I was just pulling the stuff together. A lot of good people like your dad have helped us for years and years here. Mr. David Clark and Paul Miles. And there's a whole endless array of people. Mr. Bill Higgs.
They were farmers.
Yeah, they were farmers that all got together and enjoyed doing it.
And learned from you.
Well, I don't know about that. I always say that I learned more from the farmers that I worked with over the years than I ever taught them as an extension agent.
I think Dave Clark taught a lot of people too.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to talking about your farm. Let's talk about your current farm operation, and I know you do a lot of no-till.
Yeah, this particular farm has been no-tilled for 12 years straight. Hasn't had a plow in it, and we no-till every year for the past 12 years. We've done every acre in cover crop, and trying to, first of all, break up the clay in the soil a little bit and make it a lot more arid, and then add a little bit of organic matter to the sandy soil, which just is mostly clay loam. And we've been able to bring the organic matter from less than 1% up to like 1.35 or almost 4. And I know that I told you earlier, but in agronomy class, we always learned that if you could ever move the soil organic matter by 1%, it would take you a lifetime to do it. And so we've done it more right here in a lot less than a lifetime. At least I hope it's a lot less than a lifetime. So, but it's it has its place. And less fuel, better water capacity, all that sort of thing is what
holds in your moisture.
It holds everything. Holds it all together.
What do you think the most challenging part is of farming and your operation now?
These days, finding the time for all of us to work together to achieve our goal. It seems to be the toughest thing right now as we're getting older.
Just time.
All of us have problems, but try to work through those and get the job done.
Well, I know this planting season, I saw one of your grandkids on the tractor.
Yeah, I had 2 of them out there, and a son-in-law and a son that were out there. They planted most of the beans. And there's a few skips now and then, but not many.
That's right.
I'm pretty tickled with what we got. As a matter of fact, I did a preliminary look at some plants yesterday and found out that we were in the mid to high 50s right now if we didn't put any more pods on, and we're only about halfway full or through the season. So I'm looking for some really good soybean crops here, um, and let's hope let's hope we get a good price. That's the big deal.
Right.
Is we normally try to market, use hedge to arrive contracts and regular contracts, and try to stay up on it. I check it every day, a couple times a day, and see what's going on. But it's the soybean basis in Queen Anne's County used to be like 30 to 40 cents over Chicago. Now it's 80 cents below,
Under, yeah.
and so that makes a big difference. Makes it become a better market, or you have backup storage to do that.
Yeah.
This building here is designed as a shop, but it's also we could put beans in here, put aeration tubes on, and store them in here if we had to.
Where do you guys see the future of farming going? I know there's a lot of technology out there now.
I think there'll be a big diversification of what we see planted here and the types, of crops. I think eventually you'll see different crops being predominant. I'm sure soybeans and corn, I mean, they're going to be around here forever, but I look for other crops to come in that will be able to make more money with. I mean, it's tough to make money on a small farm and just plant soybeans and wheat and whatever. But a smart farmer will find a way to find a commodity that's going to produce and make money for them so they can survive. That's what I see.
It's tough for anybody to kind of predict where ag's going to be when you look at where we've come from 25 bushels of soybeans per acre and 100 bushel of corn now to the astronomical yields that we're seeing. And I kind of think that you'll see, because of the location of the area, sitting right in the middle of almost 12 million people, that you're going to see a return to some of the other things. I mean, this county was, go back and look at the records, this county was a strawberry county for a long, long time. I mean, we grew a lot of strawberries and put them on the train in Centerville and sent them to Baltimore and to Philadelphia and to those sort of things. We were one of the largest peach growers in the state of Maryland, right here. And so, but with technology changing the type of crops, something that we may be growing here, in the coming years, we may not have even thought about, looking at specialty crops just for oil or just for energy or just for a certain protein type that may cure cancer or whatever.
And then also you have the competition for the land. I mean, we're sitting right here between 301 and 213 and 404 and the traffic in the summertime, but there's a lot of people that come through here going to the beach looking for a place to buy, and they want to get out of Baltimore. They want to get out of Washington, and they're looking for a place here. So, farmers are going to have a lot more to compete to find the ground that they need to make of it.
A lot was going to depend on the prices that farmers receive for their crops. Every farmer that's in business has to make money, and if we have to diversify, sure farms will do that. And a lot of farmers will do it the way they've always done it, by working other jobs and continuing to bring in other income so that they can be good stewards of the farms.
And I mean, like I say, there's so many things that we have that you never really think about. But you know, if we're gonna control air pollution, things like that, um, there are programs that are on USDA's drawing board that uh, lets you plant like an alfalfa hay and not harvest it. And alfalfa cleans the air. And so some big company in New York City may pay us X number of hours or X number of dollars per acre just to grow that type of a crop here.
Is what they call a carbon credit type deal.
Carbon credits, yep, yep. And that's, we're just touching the iceberg on that.
Not talking about that, but the number of trees that we're losing too, that, you know, help clean the air that we're losing, whether it be from storms like we had, you know, just a few nights ago. We took down a lot of our trees behind my house, to all the diseases that are in all the white oaks and other trees, you know, and there's not, you don't see people putting back too many trees, so that's something that they should, you know, might be, you know, starting to have more timber farms.
I mean, you can see some of these weeds out in the field out here. I've been keeping a close eye on that ragweed. There's a small beetle, cerambycic beetle, that eats those things. And so developing that variety, and so they wouldn't have to use a pesticide to kill them. You just release these beetles. And we did the same thing with the soybean seed maggot, and we did the same thing in wheat. We released a small Indian wasp that actually took a lot of the head insects out. And so consequently, right now, there's very few farms in Queen Anne's County that actually have to put an insecticide on their wheat, and it won't be long before we'll see the same thing in some of the soybeans. So there's those opportunities that, like I say, most people don't even think about, that'll be out there.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for letting us come to your farm.
Thank you for the honor.
You know, it's a 2025, you know, Farm of the Year award and recognition, but, you know, I'll say it 1,000 times. I think it's a lifetime achievement award as well, you know, for your hard work and stewardship on your farm. And again, we'll see you August 13th at 5:44 at the fairgrounds.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.